Good afternoon. If you run a business, large or small, get ready to take lots of notes. We're going to provide you a solid hour of business insights and strategies for your success. You're listening to the Focal Point Show on Tan Talk 1340, and I'm your host, Gil Pinney. I welcome all business leaders. This show is here to give you a voice and get some expert advice about how to grow and improve your business. Today, we'll discuss issues around commercial real estate. There are numerous questions that arise about your lease, location, and traffic that can make or break your business. I'm here today with one of those wonderful experts, and she's a fellow golfer. She is Paula Clair Smith. Hey, Paula, how you doing today?
I'm good, Gil. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Speaking of golf, we have now crowned a new king of golf, Mr. Jordan Spieth. He won the FedEx Cup over the weekend, along with the other major big glass trophy.
I
can't remember what
Tour
it was.
Championship,
the
sure.
Tour Championship. And you watch this young man, and I'm in awe of both his performance, but more about his composure. And it's hard to determine if he's so good and phenomenal because he's superhuman, or if it's because he's only 22 years old and doesn't know any better.
He sure is good, yeah.
Your thoughts?
Yeah. Oh, I love watching Jordan Spieth. Well, all of them. You know, Jason Day, all the Rory McIlroy, all the young guys out there, and the women too. Actually, all the women who are so strong and just focused on playing a great round of golf. The Solheim Cup was phenomenal. If you watch that, I really enjoyed watching the ladies battle it out. Somebody would knock it, within a foot of the pin, and Stacey Lewis would come up and knock it within 6 inches. It was just incredible, the competition. But Jordan's phenomenal. I have to work on my short game now. That's my goal.
Yeah. Well, from a business standpoint, I really liked his acceptance speech. He acknowledged that everything was a team effort for him to keep him mentally and physically prepared. He doesn't use the word I. He only uses the word we. And that amazing candor, Jordan spoke about the work that needed to be done for next year to make next year better than this great year, which is goes down as one of the greatest in golf history.
Yeah, it's been fun.
So he's already planning on being better next year.
Yeah, well, he is 22. He's got to do something with the next 70 years or whatever he's got.
Kidding, yeah.
And then Tom Watson was out there on Pebble Beach, and he's, 64 or something, or 66? He was out there. I think he was second place out there. So Jordan's got a few years to look forward to, I think.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So it'll be fun next year to see if he can focus and maintain that look at his at what he's got in front of him, instead of looking in a rearview mirror and thinking about what he's already accomplished.
Well, he's done it before. He missed 2 cuts and comes back to win the FedEx Cup. So he's got his history behind him that proves that that's exactly what he'll do. But he had Tiger in front of him too to show him the way to be a great golfer at a young age. But you got to take care of your body.
Yes, that part's true. He does have a real good team around him, and that's Tiger. He also had a good team, but there was one critical gear that Tiger had that when he lost that gear, the whole thing fell apart, and that was his father.
Yeah,
his father kept him pretty well balanced and focused on what he needed to do next, rather than what he had already accomplished. And it was amazing that it was 4 or 5 months after his father died that his whole world fell apart. And a lot of that was of his own making, but still, everything just, like I said, the wheels came off because that one little gear wasn't in the right place.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about how to keep all those gears moving, right?
You got it. But if you want to watch a golf swing, man, the people to watch are the women. I mean, they have beautiful golf swings.
Yeah.
The guys tend to hit it too hard, but the women, so smooth through the ball each and every time. They're like machines almost. But if you're a business owner, I'm your business coach. This is a great time to start thinking about your third quarter because it's almost over. Tomorrow's the last day of the third quarter, I think. And if you're well ahead of plan, are you going to do like Jordan Spieth, plan to have a more positive third quarter, or are you going to coast throughout to the year end? As a business coach, that's what I do. I hope you focus on what's next rather than what you've done in the past. So this show is for improving your business performance. And as I've said before, this is a unique, one-of-a-kind radio show for both Tampa Bay and the whole state of Florida, because I haven't found another one like it within the state.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here.
I'm thrilled to have you. As far as those listening, we want you to be part of the program. So please send us your questions via Twitter at Pinney G, or give us a call at 727-441-3000, or send me an email at gilpinney@yahoo.com. And if you forgot how to spell my name, it's GILPINNEY @yahoo.com. It's the best way to get clarity for you and your business, and we like your participation. We like you to ask your questions, so as soon as we get into that, start sending us your questions, and we'll answer them on the air today, and it's your opportunity to make that happen. So, as far as a business coach goes, why do you need a Focal Point business coach? Well, Focal Point gives you a money-back guarantee, and with a money-back guarantee, what have you got to lose? Everything you've got to gain is high. Our consultation is free, so please give me a call at 727-537-9680, or send me that email, as I said before, at gilpinney@yahoo.com. A business coach is your advisor who works with you to identify your strengths and opportunities. I'll help you set achievable goals and teach you how to track your progress and motivate you to make the very best of your business and your business team. That said, we'll move on to, I only have one announcement today, I believe, and that's for the elevator speech contest. The details of that can be found at the Toastmasters Top of the Morning website, but it'll be held this Wednesday at 8 a.m., so please join us. This will be the second of two qualification rounds, and the final round will be held on October 7th. Remember, there's prizes. Not only do you get to say you've got the best elevator speech of the Bay, but you also can win the coveted prize of gift cards to Panera or Starbucks, or even membership dues to the Top of the Morning Oldsmar Toastmasters Club. So that is our key announcement of the week. And now we get to move and talk a little bit before break with Paula about commercial real estate and what it means within this particular market.
Yeah, I've been in commercial real estate now since 1998 in the Tampa Bay market, and it's always interesting. Not every deal is the same as the last one, so like so many different businesses, but I love it. I enjoy the people and learning what's out there.
Yeah, very good. What particular area do you cover? Is it mostly Pinellas County?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like to stay local because I know the market there, and as I say, can drive the kingdom.
All right. Well, very good. We're going to go take a break right now, and we'll see you on the other side.
Arg, matey. When it's time for lunch, when it's time for dinner, when the show's over, when the day's over, when it's time to chill, where do we go? Over to Naughty Nancy's Food Shack and Crow's Nest Pub. It's literally in our backyard, right in back of the WTAN studios at 700 Eldridge Street, just north of downtown Clearwater. Just look for the broadcast tower. Nancy's food and atmosphere get rave reviews. The laid-back patio is a great place to hang out, dine, and listen to live music at night. And Nancy's one of the friendliest proprietors in town. And now, Nancy is serving Sunday Jazz Brunch from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Brunch served with Eggs Benedict, crepes, waffles, lox and bagels, shrimp, oysters, and a build-your-own omelet. That's all at Naughty Nancy's Food Shack and Crow's Nest Pub, 700 Eldridge Street in Clearwater. That's right where Eldridge crosses the Pinellas Trail between Myrtle and Fort Harrison. Call 446-3717. 446-3717. You're listening to the Tan Talk Radio Network.
If you would like to become a wholesale buyer of the premium quality longevity products you hear about right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network for personal service, you can call Pete Greenway at 501-538-3160. That's Pete Greenway at 501-538-3160. And remember to tell him Lola sent you. Or you can go online at tantalkhealth.com. That's tantalkhealth.com. Here's to your health and longevity.
Tune in to the book club with John Austin.
Well, I actually taught public speaking, as you probably know, in college for 7-8 years.
You could ask the questions and answer them yourself. I could just sit here.
You ask terrific questions, you listen, and it's just a joy to work with you.
Well,
we should go on the road, you know?
Right, well, I'd be happy to. And
you may not be able to go on the road, but don't worry, we bring the book club to you every Tuesday at noon, right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Are you looking for a job? Join me, Gene Hodge, on the Employment Opportunity Hour, Thursdays from 7 to 8 p.m., where I will tell you and share with you, as well as answer all of your questions and help you find enjoyable employment instead of a job. This is the only talk show that talks about everyone who makes up our workforce. Join me on the Employment Opportunity Hour every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. on the Employment Opportunity Hour.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Welcome back, business leaders and those who will be someday. We do this show to build our community's economic engine, small business. You are part of the Focal Point Radio Show on Tan Talk 1340, and I'm Gil Pinney, your Focal Point business coach, and I'm here with Paula Clair Smith from Coldwell Banker Commercial. I didn't give this to you before, but hey, you have your pen and pencil ready, I hope. Her number is 727-409-5539, or you can choose to email her at paula.smith@flcomml.com. I'll say that again, paula.smith@flcomml.com. Hope you all took that down quickly.
Like FloridaCommercial.com, abbreviated.
There you go. Okay. Paula's here with us today. She's an expert in Pinellas County commercial real estate. She can probably talk if you have any questions about either side of the bay. But tell us a little about you and how your career led you to where you're at today.
Well, it was interesting. I've been in a number of different careers, from flight attendant out of college to selling advertising on balloons to selling Saturns when they first came out. But it typically had always been a sales or a marketing because of the relationships that you build with people in all of those different areas. So in 98, I was a single mom and couldn't work the weekends and evenings of a regular real estate residential agent, and was approached to do the commercial side and have never looked back. So have been doing commercial real estate strictly since then.
That's very cool. What is the difference between commercial and residential in the broader picture? I know the properties are obviously different.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the differences really on commercial, it's all about the numbers. You don't buy a house looking at it saying, okay, what can I generate from this? But you look at a commercial property, or should look at a commercial property from that vantage point, to either buy what's my cost of my business that I'd have if I were leasing or if I were owning it, and where could that money be used. If I'm leasing, now I may have more cash than to use for other things. If I bought it, now I've got a kind of a cash down issue that uses up some of my cash that otherwise could be used for my business. But lease versus buy is a whole nother conversation with lots of variables.
Cool. So we talked a little bit, you're mostly in Pinellas County, but what range are you most comfortable in, and where's your knowledge base the strongest?
Well, downtown St. Petersburg. When I first started in commercial real estate, I was in the downtown St. Petersburg market and have never left it. Have moved around to a couple of different areas personally, from Seminole over to Feather Sound and South St. Pete. And so My emphasis has always been, though, in the Clearwater South, and that's primarily because I can drive it. Put 30,000 miles on my car every year, and that's really just driving the territory, understanding with your head on a swivel, saying, what's going on here? What's going on there? But being in the downtown St. Petersburg market or in the Seminole, in the Largo market, Carolina area, understanding who are the players there, knowing who the government officials are there, what you need for the different zoning, because you have zoning, land use, and then you have zoning for all those different municipalities can be different. And then just finding who's around that can help you do what you need to do for your client.
We haven't talked about this before, but you see a lot of newer construction for retail, or I should say, it is retail outlets. Where they knock down what used to be a one or a two office, and then they replace it with 4 to 6.
Right.
And so, do you work on the front end of that as they're building that to sell those out, or does that particular commercial landlord already have those pre-sold?
No. Your emphasis on this show seems to be where mine is, and that's with the smaller businesses. And a lot of those, and we're in a local market, so we're not talking about I don't deal with the large big boxes, as we would call them. I don't represent Walmart or any of the big guys, but I do represent a lot of the smaller ones. For instance, right now I have a owner who is a little bit new into commercial real estate, but he's been an investor in multifamily. So he's very familiar with that. So we're translating that into now a retail, where he's purchased a small retail, actually was office, and we're repurposing. Did that on Beach Drive also before the whole boom. We took some offices, repurposed them into retail, and increased the rents by 150%, because retail has a different price point than your office. So you can get in the very beginning when they're looking at buying that property to do the studies, the traffic studies, the rent market studies, and then you have to project out what you could get if this were completed in such a way and in such a look and with so much parking, and what your signage and what the demand is in that particular locale. And then you bring in the tenants. I have another client who positioned his property all on his own. He's, I guess, more educated and has done it before in an office environment, renovated the whole complex, and then handed it to me and said, all right, now lease it up. So then it becomes my job to go out there and find the tenants. But I also very much enjoy the tenant side, and that is an area that a lot of small businesses don't realize. The landlords very often will have a professional on their side, helping them to lease up that building and to put the leases together, and that. Tenants don't have to go out there and do it alone, even the smaller tenants. And that is to have someone like me that can go into a Class A office building, let's say in downtown St. Pete, and look at all that tenant's options to say, okay, you're at $20 a square foot here, you're going to be at $35 a square foot here, and this is what you get for each one of them. But actually have someone who can steer you through that, as well as the smaller guys who want to go into the small retail centers, and maybe $14 a square foot modified gross. So in all those terms can get very heady, modified gross, full service, triple net, but you need to know that, because that factors into what you're going to pay and what's going to come out of pocket, because that's the big difference between commercial and residential is cash flow, both for the business as well as for the owner of the property.
You mentioned traffic. How again, we're talking people like me that don't know the business all that well.
Sure.
How do they calculate what the traffic could be, should be?
Are you talking
versus now?
Traffic on?
Retail?
Oh yeah, traffic on the street basically.
Okay.
Is it, typically when we say traffic, then we're referring to the
Number of cars
vehicular,
goes by?
vehicles per day. As far as what you're going to get in, there's things called gap analysis, where you may say, okay, there's not a pizza parlor within 3 blocks, or there's not a pizza parlor within 5 miles. So you can do kind of a gap analysis, what we would call a gap analysis, to on the retail side to say, okay, this service seems to have a vacancy here, based on the employee and employment status and numbers. So you can kind of get an idea that way.
Okay. You also mentioned parking, and if you're relatively new in your business or starting a new location, and you look, say you get 10 parking spots with your space that you're going to rent or lease. If your growth plan for 3 years looks like you're going to need 15 to 20, do most business owners look at it that way, or do they just look at today?
Well, there's kind of a fine line, Gil, between that. Sometimes, because I've had tenants who will say, well, I'm going to grow, so I need 10,000 square feet, even though I'm coming out of 3,000 square feet. And it's the same way with parking, is you don't want to overshoot it. Sure, you'd like to grow, but that's why you're in a lease instead of buying. That would be one reason, is that if your strategic plan shows that you're going to be growing, then maybe a purchase isn't the best thing for you to do unless you buy something that is 10,000 square feet, lease out part of it while you're not using it, and then can grow into it. But typically, if you know you've got a growth pattern, then you want to do the 3-year deal instead of a 5-year deal or a 10-year deal, because you want to allow for that growth, which would mean not only square feet, but also your parking ratio. So you want to be a little bit careful about that and look around and see if there's maybe a property next door that looks like it could have some additional parking. And somebody like myself who's helping you would be able to point those things out and steer you in the right direction, because it's not only just parking, but your employee count and how many rooms you have versus open space, how that property functions for your business, and understanding the impact that would have over 3 years versus 10 years. So makes a big difference sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I got to, you know me well enough, I got to get technical for a second. How do you help a retail operation decide whether or not they keep the existing, if they should open a second versus enlarge and relocate the current store?
Well, that's really not a decision that I would make. That's really an accounting or a business decision. I can show them what they would pay in this market versus where they are, but it really comes down to, because that's really a business decision within that they and their board or whoever it is would need to make those. I can show them the numbers and what they could expect, so they could project, okay, we would need this much, or space at this price or something, or we can't afford to do that right now. So that's really not a decision that's under my realm.
Okay. So the business, that retail operator would have to know the zip codes from which his clients were coming from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would help.
And in knowing that, be able to assess whether or not they're all coming from 3 miles away or 20 miles away.
That's what they need you for, to take
right.
a look at those things and then bring me in.
That's why I like you so much. You lead people right to the path where I was going, which was, yes, you need a business coach to analyze your business prior to making these decisions in advance, well in advance, so that you plan your growth and you plan the direction you want to go. Mm-hmm. We'll continue our discussion after the break. Thank you for participating.
Go yard is a metaphor used in baseball, meaning to hit a home run. Life struggles can make you feel like you just struck out. It's times like these that we need a little batting practice to pick ourselves back up and get back in the game. Whether you are dealing with marital issues, drug addiction, rebellious teens, anxiety, depression, or just generally having a bad day, call Mama Mac. If life has you down 0-2, before you strike out, learn to go yard. Go yard with Mama Mac on this radio station, Thursdays, 6 o'clock.
Did you know there's a sprawling botanical paradise right in your own backyard? come visit Sunken Gardens. Located at 1825 4th Street North, it's St. Petersburg's oldest living museum. This 100-year-old garden is home to some of the oldest tropical plants in the region. Unwind as you stroll through meandering paths, lush with exotic plants from around the world. Explore cascading waterfalls, beautiful demonstration gardens, and more than 50,000 tropical plants and flowers. Sunken Gardens provides garden tours, horticultural programs, special events, field trips, weddings, private or corporate rentals, and much more. Call 727-551-3102 for more information. That's 727-551-3102. Sunken Gardens, 1825 4th Street North, right in the heart of Old Northeast St. Petersburg. Call 727-551-3102.
Have you been struggling with family conflict, depression, or trauma? Has something been keeping you up at night, causing excessive stress and worry? Tune in to Moments of Clarity every Wednesday night at 8. After over 10 years as a psychotherapist, I realize how important it is to take the stigma out of seeking professional help. So tune in Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. The call to me can be a great first step. It may just be exactly what you need to hear.
Hi, this is Patsy with a Z. Have you written a book? Want to write one? Or do you just enjoy reading? Listen to Joy on Paper every Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock for the story behind the book as I interview best-selling authors, agents, and publishers. Remember, that's Joy on Paper on Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio, 1340 WTAN.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Welcome back, business leaders and those who want to be in the future. We do this show to build our community's economic engine, and that's you, the small business owner. You're part of the Focal Point radio show on Tan Talk 1340. I am Gil Pinney, your Focal Point business coach, and I'm here today with Paula Clair Smith from Coldwell Banker Commercial. You can reach her at 727-409-5539. or send her an email at paula.smith@flcomm.l.com. Or if you'd like to ask us any questions, please do so via Twitter at PinneyG, or give us a call at 727-441-3000. Prior to break, we were having a great conversation, and we're going to continue that conversation and find out as much as I possibly can about the commercial real estate world. And let's get on with about lease negotiation. What are some of the do's and don'ts for either a landlord or, since you deal with both sides, the lessee, that they should watch out for or make sure is in a particular negotiation or lease agreement?
Well, before you even get to the lease negotiation, you have to understand a lot about your own business that you can translate into location. So because the location is going to affect what the lease rate is, obviously, whether there's a high demand there or whether there's plenty of space there will dictate those types of things. I also want to understand if you want to get some concessions and what those concessions might be. In, let's say, a downtown St. Petersburg market, your concessions are very different than what they might be out here in a Largo office market, let's say. So, and the rents are very different. So when you go into look at a lease, you need to understand a couple of things. Earlier we talked about how long the term is. What's the term going to be? What is the downstroke going to be on a lease? Because even on a lease, you have a certain amount that the landlord's going to expect. Are they going to expect a first, last, and security? Are they going to expect additional money up front for, let's say, build out? That's another big item that people don't understand is who's going to foot the bill for the build out, or do you not need a build out? If you don't need a build out, if you're taking the space as is, well, then the landlord's a little happier to maybe give you some free rent up front, or perhaps will give you a better lease rate. But that lease rate, too, is something, understanding who owns the building and how it's held is another thing that a lot of people don't consider, because is the lease rate going to be controlled by the bank, because it's been more the building was bought with leverage, or is the building really going to be dictated by what the landlord thinks he should or could get for rent because he doesn't have a mortgage on it, so he can really control what the rent rate is he's going to allow. He doesn't have Big Brother looking over his back there telling him what he can and can't do with a lot of things. So you've got incentives such as free rent on the front end, let's say, of the lease, or sometimes even in the back end. You can have the free rent spread out, or a lease rent. There was a time when you could actually ask a landlord for moving expenses. That's not so much anymore. And then also, like I talked about with your build out, what kind of build out can I expect the landlord to pay for, and then put it into my rental payment. So that's something to always be aware of. But one of the biggest questions I always get that people don't really understand, and a lot of it you may think of as commercial language, commercialese or whatever, are really how the lease is structured. Because a lease can be structured in a number of different ways. It can be a triple net lease. It could be a modified gross or industrial gross lease, or it could be a full service lease. And all of those really relate to what expenses are included in that lease rate. On a full service lease rate, you have everything included. You have your electric, you have your water, your sewer, your cleaning, your landscape, your lighting of the parking lot, everything, and your rent, your base rent, are all included in that full service rate. But the interesting thing about that is, even on a full service rate, the landlord will disclose a base rent. So let's say on a full service rate, you're at $20 a square foot on a full service. That includes everything. Every month that it's going to be $20, and that's on an annual basis. Remember, don't think it's, so you take that 20 times however many square feet you have and then divide it by 12 for your monthly amount. But there's a base rent associated in there also, and then the rest of it is expenses. On a modified gross, the landlord says, okay, here's my base rent. This is what my expenses are for real estate taxes and for my building insurance. Now, you can pay for your water, sewer, garbage, and electric and janitorial on top of that. So it's not a gross or full service rent. It's a modified gross because they're only paying some of the expenses. So it's always critical to know what kind of lease rate the landlord or the leasing agent is telling you, because when you compare apples to apples, you have to know what expenses are included in that lease.
Okay, you left me hanging, though. I got to know what net is.
Net means this is what it costs you to walk in the door, and you're paying for everything as if you own it. So you pay for real estate taxes, you pay your insurance, you pay everything else, because all they're doing is they're telling you it costs this amount for you to walk in that door and start acting like you own it.
Wow. That seems, I would have never thought you'd had to pay the real estate taxes.
Oh, sure.
It's how does the landlord doesn't get a tax deduction, then only you do?
Well, there's really no the tax deduction. That's a whole nother thing. But when you pay the real estate taxes, somebody has to pay the real estate taxes, and it's going to be the same if you're the landlord or if you're the tenant.
Oh, okay.
You've got that same amount, which is the real estate. Industrial single tenant buildings. That's where you'll see the triple net lease. On an industrial building where you've got a manufacturer occupying the entire building, well, the landlord says, here's the keys, at $4 a square foot, and you have to make sure that the real estate taxes get paid. You have to, pay for property insurance, keep up the lawn and all that, because you're the only one using it. Full service, you'll typically see in a multi-tenant building.
Okay. Yeah. I now understand better. Thank you for the training.
Sure. Happy to do more.
Let's talk. We normally do this a little bit closer to the beginning, but what kind of marketing programs do you use to generate leads for your business growth in what you do?
Well, there's a lot of resources that are available to commercial real estate agents. It's different from residential. Residential has MLS. Commercial real estate agents, though, are required to subscribe to various services, and they're competing right now, which has made it a very interesting market in the database management arena, because you have LoopNet, you have CoStar, you have Xceligent, you'll have the Florida Gulf Coast Commercial Association of Realtors, and that is the CIE or Information Exchange, Commercial Information Exchange. And then you also have MLS. That's 5 different subscriptions that I would have to subscribe to be able to completely hit all of them, because some realtors choose to be on different ones, whereas in residential, you typically have MLS, and that's where everybody goes, but not so in commercial. It's just too competitive a market for all these different databases. So you pick the ones that you have the most success with, and that can provide you with the most resources, maybe some analytical tools and some reports that are effective for the clients that you're trying to serve, or that have information that you can't find anywhere else. So you have to choose those. And then on top of that, you also I use postcards. I like using postcards because I get so many emails, and I understand everybody else gets so many emails, that I think postcards, and that it's a picture, which is so much nicer. And you can look at it, get some quick information to decide what you're going to do. Okay, that's great. And then you get another postcard from me and see my name again and think, oh, she must be active in that market. So maybe I need to keep this postcard, which is another thing you can do, is kind of keep that postcard by the side. Send out letters, but I also make a lot of phone calls. So just keeping in touch with, I have a newsletter that has been very well received by my clients and prospects, and just doing a lot of this, in educating the people that I'd like to have as clients.
Well, very good. Very good. Boy, you do what you need to do to reach the target market that you've selected. Very, very good from a business coaching perspective.
Thanks. I'm sure you could teach me a lot of things, though.
Going back to what's been effective when you're marketing a property, what is the most effective way you've seen for marketing a piece of commercial real estate? In Pinellas County, I would say signs. Yeah, signs are still a huge, and commercial signs are usually huge, but they have a big draw for people. Just having that visibility, it's difficult when you don't have those signs. But then you also you have to be on the web, though. You just have to. Everybody searches there for the web. So even if, for instance, LoopNet, you can pay for a premium subscription. Even if you aren't a premium member on there, you can still get your properties on there, because John Q. Public can look at LoopNet and, with some restrictions, be able to see some of what's out there. Everything is getting pretty restricted on the commercial market for the public to be able to see these things. Okay. What's the I don't want to say, what's percent occupancy, or what's the measure? How strong is the commercial market? How is it growing? Meaning, how much are they adding more square feet per month? Well, no, we don't have a whole lot of construction, except, like you said, on the retail side, and a lot of those are build-to-suits. You'll see a couple of developers who are buying land and building specifically for a tenant, and typically that's what happens. Is that on a retail side, the developer will not build until they have that tenant in place, so it doesn't provide another vacancy. There's a couple of different ways in commercial real estate that you measure the health of the market. One is the vacancy. How much vacancy is there? And then that's divided into your different markets, your product type, we call them: office, industrial, retail, multifamily. Multifamily right now is probably the strongest market right now. All the investors are gobbling up the apartments because that's where a lot of the millenniums are going. They're renting instead of owning, and but the vacancies are the vacancy, as it goes down, then the rents go up. So again, your supply and demand, and the vacancies are getting fewer and fewer in most of the different product types. So it's just like everything else, supply and demand. It is. So as the economy continues to get better, we have less retail or less space available.
Right. It's absorption is what they call it. Yeah, the absorption goes up as vacancy goes down.
Okay. Well, we're going to continue our discussion after this break, and please come back and ask any questions you have about commercial real estate. Thank you.
Hi, it's Sawyer from the Dolphin Tale movies. Now is the perfect time to visit the world-famous Clearwater Marine Aquarium. Millions have seen us around the world, and now you can experience what we do in person. Come and reconnect with Winter and her fun-loving movie co-stars, Hope, Mavis, and yes, that crazy bird Rufus. Immerse yourself into the world of marine life rescue with the behind-the-scenes tour. Explore the film sets, and don't miss our free boating adventure. Save time in line when you buy tickets at seawinter.com. Kids only $16.95.
There's only one place on the radio where golfers like you can turn for the best tips, interviews, product reviews, local tournaments, and everything golf talk. The Golf Show, guys.
Hey, join the Golf Show, guys, every Wednesday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. It's not just funny, it's informative, it's celebrities, and it's a lot of applause. It's the Golf Show, guys, Wednesday mornings from 9 to 10 a.m. right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hi, my new show on Tan Talk Radio. On Saturdays from 3 to 4 p.m., I am Dawn Reese with Hollywood Connections. My show is exciting. We have major stars, major artists, major movie producers, agents, casting directors. I even help cast for Home Shopping Network. You might be on that show as well. We have new talent segments be discovered. Remember Hollywood Connections on Saturday from 3 to 4 on Tan Talk Radio. I'm Dawn Reese, your host. Tune in.
Tom O'Brien is on the Tan Talk Radio Network. Every Monday through Friday from 4 till 5 p.m., Tom takes to the airwaves as he breaks down the day's market action. Tom combines his technical knowledge of the markets with his years of trading experience to take your calls and questions every market day from 4 to 5 p.m. Whether you're new to trading or an active day trader, don't miss out on the Tom O'Brien Show live on the Tan Talk Radio Network from 4 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Well, welcome back again for the final segment here. All you business owners and those that want to be, remember we do this show to build our community's economic engine, and that's you, the small business owner. You're listening to the Focal Point Radio Show on Tan Talk 1340, and I am Gil Pinney, your Focal Point business coach. And I'm here with Paula Clair Smith from Coldwell Banker Commercial. Her phone number is 727-409-5539. And her email is paula.smith@flcomml.com. So please send us a tweet, give us a call. The tweet is @PinneyG. The call is 727-441-3000. We're going to ask just a couple more questions before we wrap up this portion and then give you my input as to what we're going to have happen in the next couple of weeks. But most important to me, Paula, is what makes you the commercial real estate person to call when somebody either needs to expand or get a piece of property, or if you're a landlord and you want to fill your vacancy.
Gil, I think the one thing, well, several things. I'm going to give you several reasons why they should.
That's just fine.
I think I basically live the market, so I'm constantly out there. Like I said, I put 30,000 miles on my car a year, but we call it boots on the ground, and that is actually knowing the market, knowing the people, knowing the municipalities and the officials within the market, and then constantly being active in the market, whether it be the 4th Street market, 4th Street retail, let's say, or the downtown St. Pete office, or Tyrone industrial area, the Carillon office. I mean, there's all the different markets, and they're all very different because they all serve a different clientele, whether it be the industrial or flex space. That may not be a term that you've heard, but I've been doing it for over 16 years now. And I'm in the market and know what's going on, so that, and if I don't know what's happening in that particular market, I would certainly find out. So it's that hands-on approach, and that's why I serve such a small market, the Tampa Bay market, and not necessarily all of Florida. I would go to one of my peers in the Coldwell Banker commercial network if I had a need in a particular market that I wasn't serving. So I like to be right in the midst of everything and not rely on statistics and just what you see online, because anybody can do that.
Well, I must say, in our discussions previously and listening to Paula talk on prior occasions, she knows the political side of the business. She knows the landlords, and she knows who's a good bit landlord, who's not quite as good a landlord, and it's amazing the wealth of knowledge that she has about this particular market. So that's why she's here. You can really trust the information she has. It's kind of fun to listen to Paula talk to someone about a particular, pick any retail or office building and anywhere in South County, and she knows the building, who owns it, what's the rate, and what the opportunities are for that particular space. So she is a wealth of knowledge. If you're thinking about it, please give her a call, because she does know what she's talking about, my friends. She does know what she's talking about.
It's a great advantage to be able to call a broker or a landlord or somebody in the commercial real investor, and for them to actually take my call. So that's a huge advantage if anybody's ever tried to call brokers and never gotten a call back. I have that advantage that people will take my call, and that'll be an advantage for anybody I serve.
And you do put those 30,000 miles. How often do you have to change the oil on that Ferrari that you drive?
Safest car on the road, Volvo. For that reason, yeah.
Okay, we'll come back and finish this point off here, but before we go, I got to remind everyone that I'm always available for a free consultation. If you have any uncertainty about the direction of your business, again, any of the information that you heard today from Paula, if you're questioning whether or not you're in a space that you can afford, if it's not generating enough traffic, are people driving too far, should you be in a better spot? Those are issues that we can work out looking at your financials and your customer base. There's no cost to you for that initial consultation, and I get the benefit of learning what you do and who you are. And so I'd appreciate that. Give me an email at gilpinney@yahoo.com or give me a call, 727-537-9680. Having a business coach, for those of you worried about the financial side, a business coach can fit any budget. I can do one-on-one coaching, which is the most expensive, but we can also do a directed program and personalized just for you that can be as infrequent as once a month. But you're going to have a lot of work, a lot of homework in between. We also have group coaching sessions. I'm going to be doing a new series of workshops. I'm going to hold those at Jesse's Restaurant in Pinellas Park, right there on 66th Street. Haven't formalized all the details, but you'll receive a DISC assessment. We'll be looking at doing some business clarity, some competitive and customer analysis, and then identifying some of your critical constraints so you can improve your overall business. So that's coming up. If you're in a larger company and you'd like to do some workshops on how to generate revenue growth, how to do goal setting, improve the time management of your staff, look at strategic planning. We've got 2016 coming up, and now is the perfect time to look at your strategic planning for 2016. And I also do team building revenue workshops. If your organization would like to have me come and do a talk for your organization, I do those from anywhere from 10 to 45 minutes to an hour. So I'd feel very happy if your organization contacted me. Again, the number is 727-537-9680. So with that, you've got no risk, and imagine how good you're going to feel when you start getting better business from your results, it's just like hitting that home run when you're a small kid for the first time. You feel so proud of yourself that things are moving just the way you want them to, and you're making progress.
Or making that putt, right?
Or making the putt. I can talk about that. The way I got to be a decent putter was in high school, of all places. I was putting on a practice green, and these guys asked me to come over. Hey, you want to putt with us? And I said, yes. Well, the next thing after I make my first putt, he says, oh, you don't have to pay. I says, what? We're paying a nickel a stroke. And I heard Lee Trevino say this once as well. You don't realize how good you can be until you have no money in your pocket and you're putting for money. And there's no way you can walk back out after you start the round, or start the practice. So I'll tell you what, my eyes got so focused on that cup, it was unbelievable. I won a quarter that day, and I was really just happy if I'd have broken even.
Good for you.
That was one of my major learning experiences in life. If there's a lot on the line, you better put everything you've got into your focus and what you're doing. So we can go back to talking to Paula for just a couple of minutes. Where do you see the market going? We're growing. The economy's getting better. For the Pinellas County, say South County area that you know well, are they still building additional space for either retail or commercial? What's happening in that arena that we should be aware of?
Well, I think that everything does seem to be going, forward, and everything's good, and money is available now, which was an issue before. There's not a event that I don't go to where the banks aren't saying, we've got money to lend, bring us your investors or bring us your owner users, because there's two different types. So money is available, which makes a big difference, and that was the big problem back in 2008 when the spigot turned off. So people couldn't get financed, and as well as their loans coming due and those types of things. So I think the money being available is really a great thing for the commercial market.
Okay. I keep mentally driving down Gulf Boulevard and looking at all the older, newer places. Is there more of that transition like there has been in the retail or in the residential side, to where people are buying older commercial properties and tearing those down and putting multiples in place to where there was one?
We're not seeing a whole lot of that maybe like in the industrial or in the office market like you do in the retail. It's different. We're calling it, I think it's more repurposing. There's a lot of differences now in how people manufacture what they need for manufacturing or for office. Ceiling height is something that I've run into quite a bit in retail, office, and industrial. Used to be everything it didn't matter. Things could be 12-foot ceilings in industrial and that. And now you do whatever you can to try and get that 18-foot ceiling. But people are repurposing those buildings and changing those buildings and refacing them and making them look better. So it's not always just taking it all down, but finding another purpose, going from retail to office or office to retail.
Well, very good. Well, thanks again to you, Paula.
My
You've
pleasure.
been extremely informative, given us excellent insight. Again, give her a call at 727-409-5539. Set up an appointment to
I'll answer the call.
to review your future commercial needs. Next week, I plan to have Barbara McLean as my guest. She's a principal at Redefine Leadership. She does work similar to me, so we're going to have fun talking back and forth coachy stuff. But make sure you listen next week and have what we got, and we look forward to talking to you then. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
WTAN, Clearwater, Tampa Bay. WDCF, Dade City, Tampa Bay. WZHR, Zephyr Hills, Tampa Bay. Listen.
Obama and allies, Putin and cooperation. I'm Jim Ascendio. Addressing the United Nations General Assembly today, President Obama reiterated America's commitment to always stand with its allies.
As President of the United States, I am mindful of the dangers that we face. They cross my desk every morning. I lead the strongest military that the world has ever known.